support. And if you can understand what the person is saying, if their English is good enough, and they're patient with your ignorance, but don't make you feel like a fool by asking you questions like, well, is it plugged in? You know, things like that. You consider yourself extremely lucky, and you become more thankful for Marion. I mean, because that's the way she treats you. And those technical support people, let me tell you, their job is extremely hard. Because all they really want to do is yell at you over the phone, moron! That's what they want to say to you. So Marion was definitely the right person for this job. And how did she come to it? I mean, that's kind of an interesting story. She was a flight attendant for Frontier Airlines when she was young. And most of you probably aren't even old enough to remember Frontier Airlines. It was a Midwestern local airline. And at that time they called them stewardesses. And you had to be young and really attractive and have a great smile. It's very different now. If you've been on an airplane recently. And these women were expected to be they were the face of the airline. And they were expected to treat the passengers really well. But they were also expected to be able to handle terrible situations, terrible turbulence, a plane in danger. They were trained to do that. They were trained to smile, make you feel as comfortable as possible under the worst circumstances. And I think that was good training for helping people around here deal with it's crash, or something similar. Okay? So Marion's next job after that was raising 4 sons that she had in 7 years. Now, if that doesn't teach you patience and grit, I don't know what does. She raised her boys, was very efficient at doing that. I remember she told me one story that she discovered fairly early in this process that driving 4 boys to 4 different sports over the summer just wasn't going to work. And so you're all going to swim, I don't care whether you like it or not. And they all became great swimmers. They swam for their high school, and now a couple of them are swimming, they're in triathlons. The hardest event is always the swimming one, and they're doing it especially well. So she, did the right thing by forcing them into swimming in the summer. She was also a large part of the camp her sons went to. Now, I'm going to try to get this right. It's Camp Couchiching, which is an extremely well-regarded outdoor-based boys' camp in Minnesota. She was on the board of the camp. She worked there a number of summers, keeping those kids in line and teaching them crafts and maintaining the camp bookstore. And she was also instrumental in establishing a girls' companion camp. And Keith Shahan sent his son to that camp too, which was part of the reason he knew Marion was going to be a very, very solid addition to our environment. And after that, her boys grew up. They got older, and she still had an awful lot of energy. She loved working with kids. She knew how to work with kids. And Sue Carlton, who was a French teacher, I wish she could be here, but she's not, recommended that Marion become a lab monitor for the new humanities lab that's up on the 2nd floor. And Marion was going to kind of sit there and control the chaos. And the kids would want to come in, and this was 1997, and the internet was still relatively bright and new, and all the students, the boys wanted to come in and look at pornography or play games, and Marion got ahead of that in a very, very quick amount of time and made sure that the environment was safe for everyone and that everything was being respected. She knew how to handle young men. I mean, it was a great, great asset. She grew in the job and took on maintenance. You're familiar with her maintenance and how she helps you. But she also worked here in summer. You probably think that the summer work is done by elves, those of you that aren't around here. And she was definitely one of those elves. Let me kind of explain what that was like. We might get 100 boxes or 150 large boxes. And at the time, many of those computers were very, very big. If you ever even unpacked a DVD player from your home, you know it comes with mountains of packing material. And until a few years ago, it was always that white foamy stuff. And so we would have piles of boxes that the maintenance people helped us with, and literally mountains of that white packing foam everywhere that we had to put away and deal with. And I just remember how great it was to have Marion around as we were trying to schlep this stuff out to garbage cans and all kinds of things. I mean, that doesn't seem very important, but when you're not doing it by yourself, when you've got someone to help you with that, I mean, it makes it all go a whole lot better. Marion was absolutely tireless. She was willing to work during the summer, during the school year, come in during vacation times. She substitute taught classes. She learned what the students needed to know in terms of the software they were using. She kept it running. She kept you guys running most of the time. And I really don't know. I know when I was here, she was absolutely invaluable. And I knew that when Martha took over from me, that the school would be, safe. Everything would continue to run. And I knew that she would have Marion to kind of ease into it a little bit more. And so that I felt I was leaving a very, very difficult job over which I had a lot of control. And I felt safe and comfortable leaving it, that I would never have a worry about it. And that's a very, very good thing to be able to say. At this point, Marion is going to be looking at a different kind of life. She's been very good to all of us, but now it's time for her to be good to herself. Thank you.
Awesome.
I just want to quickly add, I'm not a good public speaker, so Georgianne did a great job. I just want to say, Marion, we're going to miss you so much. And now Mark Nicholas will speak for Bob Henningsen.